this down. Alright. Do. Looks like I am using the right brush for this, right? There we go. And with that, I'm pretty much done with the page. I just can't show the rest of it. I mean, I have to put in text, but other than that. Let me blank this just to make sure nothing shows up. Yeah. Copy. Paste. Hello, everyone. What I planned. I will put in the text after I'm done streaming, so that way there's no immediate spoilers. I just gotta change the number on this. But yeah, it's pretty much done. I just gotta put in text and whatever sound effect or whatever. And that's pretty much it. I'm literally done with the page. Would have been done sooner, but computer crashed last night. Which I think now I know what the problem is. I think it's just a heating issue. And my computer's always had heating problems because this room in particular is not the best for weather, I guess would be the best phrase for it. But it's one of those things where I can't move the computer from this room, so hopefully if I find another place or whatever, then I can resolve that. But for now, I'll have to deal with it. So right now I just have my window open and freezing my ass off, but you know, makes the computer run, so I don't care. Okay, but yeah, this is pretty much the page, minus these hidden panels. And minus the dialogue. Alright. Since I am done with this, let me save. Come on, save me. But apologies in advance if the stream does crash because of my computer. So hopefully that doesn't happen, but I've done literally everything I can aside from getting a new computer or replacing parts. So let me blank this just in case. We don't need this open. Let's get a new page. Turn this back on. There we go. Anyway, I hope you guys had a good Valentine's. Let's grab this pen. The Valentining. I wonder if there's any... Um, not like aside from like a side story or something like that. Marcy and Skylar. Well, obviously there'll be Black Circus for when Skylar gets his own comic. But aside from that, their story is pretty much done. And I guess Blake's story bleeds into hers, into the end result of that too. But aside from like characters that Marcy has directly interacted with, that have the potential of, you know, her showing up or whatever. Aside from that, her and Skylar's story is basically done. Well, her story, I should say, because it was mostly focused on her now. Okay, what to draw? Let's grab. Debating on if I want to use Nadine or another character. Because I got plenty of thick characters. At this point, it's just a matter of preference. I try to find more Veteruscy facts or logic. Who live by Becky's sex dungeon? Jesus. Let's see. I'm just going through a list of characters. Maybe I should work on a adopted character for a warm-up. I mean, literally a warm-up. My hands are fucking freezing. What other characters? There's Nadine. Like, I don't know. I kind of just want to do something dumb, like just random. All right. You know what? Let's have something fun. Let me see if I can do this. First, let me grab. Where is it? No. Damn, what was the name of it? Oh wait, is that it? Yeah, there it is. Okay. So let me put this on screen. Let me just create another widget. Copy. Come on. So copy and then paste. So now there's two of you. Properties. There we go. So let's do something dumb fun. So you guys name off a few characters. I'll put them on the wheel. And then we'll let fate decide what I draw. Fat Hooters Becky, like what's the difference between that and just a fat Becky? But I'll put Becky on the list. Alright. Becky. She got the uniform. Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh does have the fruit magicians. I mean, you can't even want him. This is up to luck. Alright, I'll toss Marcy in there. And then, like, whatever character wins, then I'll ask for where I can get their reference or whatever. If it's one of mine, then obviously I would have their reference. Kiwi. What's the name of the Bloody Mary snake girl? Did I give her a fucking name? Let me see. Obviously I should bring this up on another thing, just in case. Fuck, did I even give her another name? Or a name at all? I feel like I did, but I don't remember. Because I haven't used her enough. Easiest way would probably be digital artwork, because that way she'll show up on the Valentine's Day thing. Let me type in V-Day. Okay, what did I name you? Yes, her name is Sue. Okay. I was like, fuck, what is your name? I don't think I gave her a last name, though. How about Munch from Tribal Hunter? Munch. I'll just type in Tribal Hunter. I think I know what you're talking about. I've only seen the game like once or twice. Okay. Luna or Octavia from Hello Boss. Fuck it, I'll put in both. Luna. Octavia. What drawing pad do I use? I use a Wacom. I have no idea what model this is, but I have a Wacom tablet. It's one of those big ones that are basically a third screen. Okay, 2 more characters. How many are we doing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3 more characters. I want it to be an even 10. Liamu the deer. Sure. Not familiar with that one. I think that one's probably an OC. Alright, 2 more. Have this be like a roulette contest thing. And I know there's a way to give them more, like a scoring thing, so I want to do like best, like whoever reaches a certain number. Okay, if they win, then I'll look it up. The fat tail girl from the anime game. I want. Fat tail anime game. Oh, fat tail. Oh, Tomimi. Sure. Good Lord, help me if I try drawing her. Tomimi. I have her artwork saved, so that'll help. All right, 1 more character. I think that's how you spell her name. Alright, 1 more. Where are these? One more character. And that's when I realized I had a counter up here the entire time. Neat. I think I can enlarge this. Oh, that doesn't help. Or it'll help later. So yeah, one more suggestion. If no one says anything in like 3 minutes, then I'll toss in something. Nadine? Alright. And I'll just toss in Blood Orange just because. Alright, no more. So, let me see if I can change the options here. Because I know there's a way to make it so that they get a certain number of points. Is this it? No, that's not what I'm looking for. Where is it? Oh. Where is that option? Because there's a way you can give them a number of points. Enable wait. Yeah, because like there's a way you can make it so that however many times the character, or like I can gauge it based on how many times the spinner lands on somebody. Because I want it to be like first to 3 or first to 5. And I'm trying to remember how to do it. No, that's not it. Open title section. It should be around here. Hold on, let me see what wait means. No, that's not. Disable. Is this anything? No. Shuffle, remove all inputs, no. Is it just gonna... It might just do it on its own? Ah, here we go. Manually stop, mystery spin. Spin behavior? I don't even know what the hell. Random angle. No, it's none of these. Because there's like a there was like a way to make it so that oh well. So hopefully there'll be a counter. So we'll see what happens. Alright. So I can always just keep track, so I'll open up a WordPad just in case. Okay, so what should it be? Should it be first to 5 or first to 3? Because I want to give everybody a chance. Ironically, this is how I voted on Tiffany for the weight gain drive. 3? Any other takers? 5? We'll see what the majority is. Basically, how like whoever like if the let's just say if the spinner lands on Marcy 3 or 5 times, then Marcy's the first, then she's the winner, type of thing. It's like whoever gets to the max number first. The spin already. Okay. All right, I'm gonna say. We'll just make this suspenseful. I'm gonna say first to 5. All right, here we go. All right. Okay, so I clicked on +1. Does that mean hers will show up with a number? Okay, cool. It does keep track. All right, we'll do it this way. All right, Blood Orange has got 1. Munch. Epic spins. Ooh, Octavia, barely. Mimi. Oh my god, good. Imagine if this is how I picked how I commission people. This would be fucking violent. Okay, Marcy's got one. Ah, Octavia again. Ooh. So far it's a tie between those two. Ooh, Kiwi this time. This may take a while, but still. Even I'm like, fuck, who's gonna get it? Nadine got picked. Munch again. Okay, two more. If Munch gets it, we're doing first to 5. Nadine. She's at 2. Octavia's got 3 now. Damn, needy. Marcy. How many does she have? She has 2. Sue's finally on the board. One more for Octavia. Luna's on the board. The only person not on the board is Becky. How ironic. Ooh, Marcy, barely. Of course, Becky wouldn't be on the board. And that's what I get for speaking. Alright, everyone's got at least 1 point. Sue again. Ooh, Tomimi. So close. Nadine, how many does she have? She has 4. So far it's Octavia and Nadine. Let's see. Marcy still. Oh god, Marcy only needs one more. It's so close. And Sue's getting there. Luna getting another point. Jesus, I would laugh if all of them got 4. Again, Tomimi. Where is she at? She's at 3. Okay. Luna again. Ooh. Kiwi this time. Oh, Kiwi once more. Jesus. Kiwi's like, bitches, this is my scene. Nadine. Is she maxed out? Yes, the winner is Nadine. Which means all of this was for nothing since she was the first thought in the beginning. This was all for nothing. Alright, let me close this. That was funny. Alright. I'm gonna draw Nadine. Let me delete this. I don't need this anymore. Okay. It was all for nothing. That was funny. But at least we let fate decide. That's how it happened with Tiffany for the first way gain drive. I was like, I put like several characters on that list and she ended up winning. Alright, let me grab Nadine's artwork. Let me grab some fat reference. Let's see. Some good weight gain reference. Let me put her artwork on the screen for you. This is Nadine. So I'm going to draw a after Valentine's Day pic of her. Probably stuffed with chocolate. That was fun. We'll have to do that again sometime. We'll just like do like roulette. For a second I was like, did I do 4 of her? I'm like, yeah, I did. That was fun. Alright. Let's see. What's some good reference? Random. Maybe. Let me look at this. I'll keep that in mind. Let's see what else we got. No. I'll save that one for another time. Same thing for that one. Many good picks. Reference. Yeah, I'll go with this. Okay. Yeah, let me see. Because I'm pretty sure I did more of her. Or with her. Let me see, let me check. Hush. I had Nadine. Do. Come on, load for me. Did I not? Did I imagine that and think I did it with another character? Oh, I guess I did. Huh, I could have sworn I did 4 of her, I guess not. Yeah, I guess I didn't. If I did, it's probably elsewhere. Okay. You know what? It could have been that I wanted to do Vor and then I decided not to. That could have been the case. Or I decided to save it for like another occasion. Alright, so start this off. Get a good close up of your face. Yeah, I thought I did so too. If I did, I can't for the life of me remember for some reason. Or it could be somewhere random. If it's not here, where would it be? Oh, yeah. Yeah, she wasn't trying to eat her in that pic. She was just yawning because she's not a morning person. And the shower was on, so she just went in with her roommate while her roommate was bathing. Yeah, she didn't eat anybody. But I could have sworn I did. Maybe I'm thinking of a different character. Yeah, because I don't think I did any... Because I haven't really used Nadine too much, so she's either in that pic or she's in this folder, but I don't think she is in here. No. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't do any Vor of her. Or Vor with her. Close this. You just see open snake maw immediately goes to Vor. Just brain turns off after that point. You're like, ah, I know where this is going. But yeah, that was fun. I'll have to do roulettes more often. Just leave it up to chance. But yeah, not sure how long I'll stream for. I want to do 3 hours, but I'm trying not to like pull my chances with my computer being finicky with me. But we'll see. Yeah, luckily she's part snake. That means she can fit more in her. And you can take that wording as you may. Yeah. Yeah, the page is saved. The only thing I have to do is just add in the dialogue and whatever sound effects, but it is literally done. And then I need to finish up Strawberry's pick. Like, hers is pretty much done too. I just need to fix how the alternate artwork is made, because it's not coming out the way I want it. So I just need to do what I need to do to fix that. So hers will be also done tonight or today, whenever. And then I want to get going on working on Black Circus, because I need to move that along. And then after that, I want to work on any commissions that I'm gonna get first, and then I can work on the poll winner stuff. Because at least with the poll winner stuff, I already know who needs to get made and stuff like that, or what artwork needs to be done. So it's not like I do not like how I'm doing her nose. So it's not like a giant guessing game. With commissions, it's a whole other thing, because I have to know exactly what I'm doing. So I want to say tomorrow I'm going to make a post opening for commissions, and I'll put whoever gets those slots. I'm saying everything backwards. I'm going to put a post saying that commissions will open on Friday. There we go, because today is Wednesday. I keep thinking today is Thursday for some reason. Time is a bitch for me. When you draw for a living, time is whatever, because everything just flows together. Yeah, and I need to work on her story too, because I was about to work on that, and then the computer issues happened, and then because so much time was lost trying to figure out what the hell was wrong with my computer, I had to push that aside and work on iHat, the normal story. So yeah, hopefully this weekend, or even maybe later tonight, since I'll try to get a bunch of stuff done. I'll at least start working on the page. Like, it doesn't have to be done, but I at least want to get started on it. Luckily, it'll be in black and white, so depending on how things go, I can just probably crank it out. And it's the first page, so it's not like there should be anything super complicated going on. Alright, people, how fat do we want her? How stuffed should she be after Valentine's Day chocolates? The answer is yes. How fat should she be? Yes. If that's the case, then I'm gonna have to change her cheek. Enough to be Evil Mercy size. Very much. She bought in bulk. Okay, let me grab Evil Marcy's picture real quick, just so I have a reference. Where are you? Drives. Evil Mercy. I'll grab the non-sweaty version. Alright. Put this over here. Oh yeah, that's a lot of fat. Anyway. Oh, the one where she's waiting outside the locker room. We want a great V-Day. Okay, let me go to that version. Honestly, that's like only just slightly bigger than what she is. Than what she is normally. but we'll make her nice and stuffed. If I ever did like a skit, it'd be like her roommate would be like, "Wow, you got a lot of Valentines," and she's like, and Nadine would just be like, "What?" She's like, "Nah, man, she went out to get this chocolate." Let's make her face around her. Her big chubby cheeks. Yeah, she just went out and got a shit ton of discounted chocolate. And let's make this go out a bit. She's got a pretty round nose. But yeah, I hope you all had a good Valentine's. Sorry again for cutting yesterday's stream so short. Because I looked at it after I closed it, I was like, oh my god, I was only on for a half an hour. I thought it was longer than that. I thought it was at least an hour, but I was like, nah man, it was only 30 minutes. I'll have her snake tongue out. Can't picture Becky having a sweet tooth. Nah. She's not really a sweets person. Like, she'll probably eat some candy out of boredom, but she won't, like, innately be happy of it. If someone, like, gave her candy, she'd be like, oh, thanks. And probably do nothing with it. Like, she's the type where if it's sitting around long enough, and she's just like lounging on the couch, then maybe she might eat some. But that's a big maybe. With her, you're better off just taking her out to dinner or something. She'll probably order like a steak or whatever meat. She's more of a meat person. And then, of course, was it last year's Valentine's Day where I drew her scratching the shit up with Pax? I think it was last year. One of the years that she did that. That was a fun pick, though. I like doing that. Oh, that was an acid cast. Or it might have been, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think it was. I think it was an acid cast. But yeah, Becky gets pretty horny. Doesn't help that she has several conflicting animal traits. So So when she's horny, she is horny. Clonny. Tongue like licking. You know what? We'll have it on. Do it on her. I want to do it on her chest, but I can't because it's fucking Twitch. Gotta do safer work stuff. So I'll just have her licking chocolate off her face instead. Would have been better if it was her boobs, but I can't do that. Sometimes I just look out into the sky and be like, is this worth it? Pax has that honey badger endurance. Yeah, right? Pax is just like, you know, this is gonna hurt like hell, but it's fucking worth it. That's why he always asks her, is like, alright, do you have the bandages? Blood orange is your favorite so far. Brought you into the fat rabbit hole. Or the fat tail rabbit hole. Right? Yeah, I could. Just like licking the tops of her chest. Yeah, I could do that. You know, let's do it. Screw it. I'll have to draw the rest of her tongue a little later. Licking her sweater then. I know, right? Whatever happens. Either her cleavage or her sweater. Depends on if she's even wearing this outfit. I want her to keep her beanie though. But yeah, with Becky, Pax is like, alright, we got the bandages, got the water bottles, got the other medical aid. Think we're good. And then Becky probably like, good, because I can't wait any longer, and just fucking tosses his ass on the bed. Just a shit ton of claw marks all over the bed. Could totally see him like go to work when Becky's not on schedule, and like I don't know, have like a coworker be like, "Yo, did you have a good Valentine's Day?" And Pax is just staring out in the distance, going, "Yes, yes, I did." As you can see, like a big fucking hickey or whatever on his neck. I don't know. I'm just talking at this point. God, it's like the Dane Cook joke where he's talking about pterodactyl women and shit like that, and he's like talking about this whole fucking like scenario of him like fucking like an amazing furry woman and shit like that. And then at the end of the joke, he's like, and by the time I get to the end of this, I'm not even masturbating anymore, and I'm just thinking. And that's his joke. You're not even masturbating anymore. You're just thinking. He's wearing sunglasses because he got a black eye from the sex. Maybe. Shit, depends on what position he was in. And she's got them strong... She's got a strong backside and legs, so... Proceed with caution. She's already got thighs that can crush you. There we go. I can see Becky complying. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when Pax wants to, get on, she's like, fine, and, just turns around and sticks her ass out, pulls down the underwear. And she'll likely do that at work anyway. If the day is slow and he's too busy glancing at Becky's fat ass. And he drums up the situation. It's like, hey, let's get in a quickie or whatever. And she's like, fine. But when Becky's in the mood, she's like, bitch, you, me, back room now. And if he makes her wait, that's just gonna make it worse. He's like, no, not at work. And then she's just irked and waiting to go home. Or to his place, or whatever the case may be. Like 2 feet inside the house and just pounces his ass. That'd be funny. Alright, so let's see. I don't want to do this. Make her relatively plumper. I don't know, fuck it, we'll just go for it. This doesn't have to be canon. We're just having dumb fun. Yeah, they'll be all like, like, hey, where's Pax? And they look at the calendar. It's like, oh, it's after Valentine's Day. Okay, him and Becky aren't going to be in today. Him or Becky, like whoever's turn it is. Or if both of them have a turn. They're like, oh, okay, we get it. Let's see. We'll see how this looks when I get there. I'm doing that bad habit where I start in the middle of the page. There we go. Kind of wanted to look like she's been like just going to town on discount chocolates for like a few days. CZO. Show me already, you fuckface. Exactly. Wait, so fuckface didn't fucking start an alert? Hold on, did fuck already get approved and that's why? Let's see. Screw it had to be approved. I don't know why. What's this? Kinky bondage had to be approved. God, this alert system confuses the hell out of me. Because sometimes it'll ask me terms that were already approved and then do it again. Whatever. Bums. Okay, bums needed me to approve. What the hell? Weird how it didn't attempt to censor fuckface. Yeah, exactly. I don't know anymore. Those naughty bum bums, I know, right? But yeah, Becky's the type where it's just, if the longer you make her wait, the worse it's gonna get. It's like she is going to ride you like a freaking mechanical bull. Hell, she would probably break the damn thing. Hillbillies. Hillbillies got flagged. Really? I know, right? I give up too. I'm like, what the fuck? Hillbillies. Hillbillies got flagged. I think I can erase this part. If not, I'll fix it later. Licking got flagged. Well, it didn't show up for me. Licking was fine now. Unless it saved it, hopefully. And now it's okay. Maybe that's why fuckface didn't get flagged. But then sometimes it'll bring up terms that we've already brought up, so I don't know. It's really hard to tell. Should definitely do like a comic of Becky's past relationships and how she just destroys them in bed. Usually when she's the horny one. When it's just like a regular day of sex and it's pretty much normal. Like, obviously she can take it, but like she wouldn't be as rough and what's the word I'm looking for? Near endless. It's like it only stops when she passes the fuck out. Okay, so we gotta remember she's wearing a sweater. So that way I can draw this part without it making it look weird. First I gotta look at her hands. She's got some big hands. Passes out before Pax does. Oh, after Pax does. Shit. If she's like, you know, if she's horny, she'll keep going when he's already passed the hell out. And after she gets off, like, I don't know, a few more dozen times or half a dozen, however much I feel like putting her in the mood for, then she'll fall asleep on him. And I don't know, maybe she'll cuddle. If she's feeling really needy, she'll probably cuddle. Thankfully, she's not part rabbit. Unless a kangaroo is the closest to that. But she is part other thing, so that probably doesn't help. It's like, well, I'm not part rabbit, yeah, but everything else pretty much makes her equal to a rabbit. Actually, this should probably be higher. Kind of putting lines in places until I need to fix them up later. GG, we just that'd be funny. That could always be like another character that has to do with like dark shit. Could have like a goth-like character where you see her having like a good time with her like significant other, but like you don't see the significant other until like the very end, and you find out that she's been with a corpse or something, or even just goes to like a graveyard. That'd be an interesting side story. Like, probably like in the beginning of the comic, it just shows her like, you know, getting ready for her boyfriend or her date or whatever. Like, she's making herself look, you know, nice and sexy and stuff. And like, maybe she even tells her friends like, oh yeah, you know, I'm going to go hang out with my boyfriend. Blah, 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 blah. And then cuts to her having sex in like a graveyard or something. Well, like you don't even know it's a graveyard. You just hear her having sex somewhere, and then it shows. All I show is just like her having a good time, and then at the very end, you find out that she's in a graveyard. So something really fucked up. All right, so remember, this is a sweater. We're in a sweater. I have to emphasize the sweaterness of the sweater, because this is a sweater. Big sweater puppies. I'm just roughing it out right now. This is a sweater. Big sweater. See, this is what the sweater lines would be for her sweater, and I can give her her collar for the sweater. Doesn't have to be this exact sweater that she has on in her character art, but it's a sweater. So bras and panties. I don't know, like, it should be okay. Tank top, yeah, I could. Like, or it could be like an open sweater. One of those, chest windows. But, yeah, underwear and all that should be fine. Or, like, you know, bra and underwear, or bra and panties and all that. Swimsuit should be fine. Because I've looked through the rules and they just say pretty much nudity and the act of sex, whereas YouTube is just nudity is fine because it's artistic nudity, but you can't like show, you know, intercourse and all that, which I question because there's plenty of fucking videos on YouTube that are like, oh, this is for educational purposes, and it's literally just a man and woman jerking off. And I'm just like, not even gonna touch that. Like, you deal with it, YouTube. Like, at the end of the day, it's not my fucking problem. And honestly, I don't even care. The only people that would have to care are the parents who don't pay attention to what their kids are looking at, and give their kids, you know, 18 and older access. To be, like, the only fairness I could give in that situation is just if the videos are not properly marked. So, like, if it's like a risque video and it's not like labeled for 18 and older, then that I can forgive, because it's like, well, yeah, there's nothing you can do about that. See, we big brain, we get around the rules. Well, anything further than that has to either be on like Picardo or in like a privated thing. And then of course there's e-hentai that doesn't give a shit about anything as long as it's not like real life CP. Like if it's not real life, they don't give a shit. That's why at the end of the day, e-hentai is probably like the best site possible. And let's just give her... You know what? No. Let's do it this way. So yeah, like if for whatever fucking reason other websites decide to go fucking AWOL or go crazy, and it's like, oh, you guys can't post these comics here anymore, blah 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 blah, then shit, e-hentai would probably be the main. But that's probably deep in the future, assuming that even happens at all. If it does, though, you know, I'll let people know. I'll be like, alright, these sites are being babies. Let's go to the big kids corner. If that were to happen, I would just have like a sign that just says I'm a big kid now, and just direct people like, well, this is where I'll be. Or in Fur Infinity's case, obviously I won't be able to put a link, but I'll have to like specifically point out where it is. I was like, alright, it's going to be here. And I don't know, depending on how strict they are with their rulings, have to like make fucking hieroglyphics just to explain where to go. Or fucking smoke signals. Fur Infinity is an experience sometimes. And it's funny, because Fur Infinity is the only website I've had trouble multiple times in when it comes to like what is allowed on their site, even though they have plenty of things that contradict their rules. And I'm just like, alright, my mistake. Didn't realize this was an issue for this specific site, but okay. I think the only time I had issues on DA was when they thought one of the artworks I drew was a character sucking dick, but it wasn't. She was just sucking on a tail, and they thought that like cum was coming from her mouth. I was like, no, that's drool. But they were like, no, you can't have it here. And I was like, all right, fine, whatever. Nah, Fur Infinity has been pretty anal with some of their rulings, which is confusing. Because the way they word it is like, you have to specifically announce that a character is is like 18 or older. And that's why people have to put in like warning, or put in their like in their descriptions that say all characters are considered blank age or whatever, regardless of if it's like a known character that's known to be a specific age. They'll just say all artwork is characters being aged up, which doesn't make sense ultimately, because it's like if that's all it takes is just saying like, okay, all these characters are considered blank age regardless of the context, then it doesn't make sense. And of course, characters who are known to be younger are on Fur Infinity, and sometimes they don't even say if the characters are 18 or older. People just have to assume they are. Or if there's like any indication that they aren't, then that's the only time FA gives a shit. But I'm like, whatever with it. Oh, really? Yeah, it's always funny when like you draw like a fat version of a character or something, because it's not, because like I remember when I was starting to draw fat characters, and well, not even starting, but like when I drew like Nemesis or any other fat character, I kept getting like reply or comments saying like, "Oh my god, fat is not attractive," blah 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 blah, and I'm just like, say that to the people that like it, which technically they already are, because it was me, and I was just like, beauty is subjective anyway, so fuck you. Oh yeah, I mean, honestly, people like everything. It's just a matter of, you know, finding your audience, or finding people who like that kind of stuff. And that's all I learned. All I learned is like people literally like everything. And this was like back in like, I don't know, 2006 when I first started posting shit. That's all I learned. I was like, oh, okay, everybody likes everything. Which explains a lot. Just boils down to what you can do with that knowledge. It's like, okay, what did you learn today? Well, I learned that people like robotic bumblebee women who can shoot lasers out of their chest. That is, and the way they have sex is you just pump them with gallons of honey. And what you do with that knowledge is up to you. Let's take a gun. Yeah, people are just dumb. People are always going to try to be angry for practically no fucking reason, whether it benefits them or not. Or if somebody's doing well off than them, then someone's gonna, start shit. Like what happened with Mr. Beast. It's like, hey, I'm gonna cure 1,000 people's blindness. A bunch of people who are legally blind. I'm going to pay for their operations to get them not blind anymore. And what did some people do? They complained about, oh, he's just doing this for views and clout and money and stuff like that. And it's like, well, no shit. Of course he's going to do it for money, for one. Because he already stated the money he gets from doing stuff like this, he puts back into other projects so he can potentially help more people. Like, I don't know what else to explain. And then you have some people who are trying to say things like having how am I phrasing this? Basically, there were people trying to say having a disability is supposed to be like a welcoming thing, not in the sense of you shouldn't like people who have disabilities. It's more like if you have a disability and someone has the ability to cure it, you shouldn't want the cure type of thing. And I'm like, wait, so if somebody lost an arm and they have the potential of getting said arm back, let's just say hypothetically they could regain their exact same arm, like the lost arm and all that, people were encouraging people like that to not get their arms back. And I was just like, excuse me, what? Who the hell, are these people just flat out stupid? And the answer to that is, of course, is yes. But it's just this whole cult mentality thing. Because, someone was just trying to be oh, having disabilities is a beautiful thing. And, I get what you're saying, but the way you're saying it isn't working out in this context. But yeah, it was just this whole fucking thing with Mr. Beast, and I was just like Mr. Beast is fucking chill. Dude made fucking Willy Wonka's factory. I watched that video and it was great. I showed that to my friend that I was hanging out with yesterday, and she was like, holy shit, I would like to go. I was like, right? So yeah, it was just this whole thing. I was laughing at that. But yeah, it was just surprising that there were so many people who are so pissy with their own lives that they would go to that lengths. It's like, what? This guy can cure cancer? Fuck that guy. I'm like, wait, what? I thought that was the goal. I swear, if that actually happened where Mr. Beast funds the ability to cure cancer or something and people start shit over that, I'm gonna just be like, alright, humanity's done for at this point. It was already the case, but that would confirm it at that point. It's like, alright, we're a doomed species at this point, if people are gonna argue that. I tell Mr. Beast to keep the cure locked away. It'd probably be some... Okay, if he found the cure and people started shit, I would imagine that he would lock it away, but wherever he keeps it, it would only unlock after he passes away and he gives all of his money away. Because he's already said he would do that, but I imagine that would be the conditions after that point. He'd be like, alright, and then the cure for cancer would be in the same vault as whatever else he would keep. Make people do Saw games for it. I mean, he kind of already does that, where he has like people versus whoever for money. I did like the Spider-Man video he had, where a guy who was like a stunt double for Spider-Man films. At least I think it was for Spider-Man films. Might have been for something else that was also Spider-Man related. But basically, a guy dressed up as Spider-Man and then climb a 400-foot building, and the guy succeeded because they gave him like a working suit that could stick on walls. And I thought that was neat. I was like, shit, that's cool. Scary as fuck, but it was cool. Luckily, you know, he had like a lifeline just in case something were to happen. But watching him scale it was pretty neat. He's like, I need more pictures of Spider-Man. And like one of the scary parts for that video was like it started raining as he was climbing the building, and I was like, oh shit, are those things gonna like still work in rain? And luckily they did. I don't think it rained that heavily though, so I think he was fine in that kind of weather. But still, I was kind of like, oh shit. And then there was like another video where they put like a fucking jet engine on or like a rocket engine on a car just to see if it could clear a bunch of buses. It got pretty far, but it definitely did not clear. It crashed the hell into it. So I was like, oh shit. And fuck it, we're just gonna make her boobs go like this. There we go. Give her a Valentine's Day sweater. Bet some hearts on it later. Big old fat. Probably exaggerating a little too much. Yeah. So let's bring this up a bit. Let's fix this. Grab this. Kinda depends on where I put the hand. Might have to just change the position. Or change the way I was gonna do this. There we go. Do it this way. circus. I want to get closer to the fun stuff for that. We're only a few pages away from her eating that one guy. I wonder if that's what I'll name him on his card. I'll just keep calling him Drunk Asshole. But I might actually give him a name. I think we gave him a name, but I keep forgetting because I haven't made it official. I think we named him like Ted or something, or Tim. I think it was Tim. Make it look like she's squishing some of her fat. Oh yeah, I haven't even saved this yet. Should probably do that. We'll just call this After V-Day Chocolate. There we go. I'll put the year just for the hell of it. That is not the year. There we go. Alright, so how do I want to do this? Yep, it is White Bat Audio. I will grab it. I'll grab the comp. I like this one. Boop. Let's just say, let's just put this here just for now. not Yorge it off big. It's as big as I need it to be. Well, good. I'm glad your heart and your mind are telling you the same things. You hit 10k in Viro bucks. God, I guess getting the points is pretty quick, but that's good. I'm glad you're able to get them so quickly. Never mind, I'll need to make like more avatars to use. That way they can be options. I want to make more cards too, because I want to try to put out another set next month. Yeah, right. Happy discount chocolate day. Well, so far so good. My computer's doing alright. Really shouldn't have said that out loud, but whatever. I honestly think it's just a temperature issue now. There was one picture somebody drew for Valentine's Day, and it was just like a girl just hands her Valentine's to someone she likes, and all it says inside is "fuck you" with a heart. Or no, it says "go to hell," and then it has a heart next to it. And she's like all embarrassed giving it to him. I'm like, yeah, that's something Becky would probably do. Hers would probably just say "fuck you." And like her giving it to Pax or someone, she would just be like, just shut up and take it. Or she'd be like, if you don't want my Valentine's, that's fine, just throw it away. For Kamen Rider, I'm curious on what they're gonna do with Kamen Rider Decade. Because based on the continuity of the series, he's technically dead. I mean, he can come back. Well, at least when he had his movie, he could come back if people remember him. But I'm curious on what they're going to do after that, or with the continuity they have right now. Well, because, like, when he died in his movie, they just, like, revived him because people still remembered him, because he's literally, like, the Kamen Rider Grim Reaper. Or, like, he's basically a God Destroyer, or a World Destroyer. But in, the special they did with him in Kamen Rider Geo, which, God, that was such an awful special. Shit happens and he ends up dying. And so now I'm like, okay, they haven't done a crossover since, or like another, Kamen Rider get-together thing since that special. So I know, right? Give Ghost a good story. I know, but like, I'm curious to see what's gonna happen, because they haven't done a big Rider crossover since yet. Because like, even with Kamen Rider Revice, like none of the other Rider, they didn't have like a giant Rider thing, because he was the 50th anniversary Rider. And the closest thing they did with him was just all of his forms were references to other writers, but they didn't have like the actual writer show up. So I'm wondering what's gonna happen when like another when another anniversary writer comes into play, and I'm wondering if they're gonna bring back Decade. Because so far in Kamen Rider Outsiders, they brought back The End. They didn't show his actor. They just had him in the Rider suit. But they brought back The End, and I'm like, okay, we have The End, and The End is similar to Decade, because they couldn't use Decade because technically Decade is dead based on their continuity right now. So now I'm just wondering what they're planning in the future, if they're gonna use Decade again at some point. So obviously I think they're gonna revive him, but I'm curious on how they're gonna go about it. And he would definitely need a buff if they're gonna revive him, because the way he went out was so fucking stupid. And it shouldn't even happen in the first place, because Decade and Geo have literally like almost the same exact powers. I would say Geo's versions are usually like discount copying about powers, because like every time he used an ability that was similar to other writers, it just looked like a discount version, or like it's like something was off. Like even the other writers would point out that something seems off about Geo mimicking their powers or using their powers. Like they always pointed out that something was just slightly off. And like there's so many weaknesses that Geo had that Decade could have easily exploited, because he has the ability to do so. That it just didn't make sense with the fight between him and Oma Geo. And they've already pointed out that Oma Geo can be defeated by getting rid of his timeline, which they already did once. And they do point out that alternate timelines exist, but for his case, it was like a specific action got rid of his timeline, which Decade could easily do. And I like Decade more than Geo, but like I'm trying to go off of the logic that they were doing for their show. And it just didn't make sense, because Decade and Geo could basically put each other in a stalemate. because people were trying to argue that, oh well, Geo has the power of all riders, and I'm like, yeah, so does Decade. Decade literally shows that he can turn into Geo, so that doesn't work against him. Decided not to put her beanie on. So it just made no sense. The writing for that special was just awful. I don't know what made them think that was such a good idea. And then I had to also think about that, you know, the actor for Decade said that he likely won't do it again. Which, I don't know, I think he would. I think he'd do it again for the fans and stuff like that. He's like a really chill guy. But right now, like, he was doing like his own thing. Like he was like doing his own like type of writer like show, which looked pretty cool. But yeah, like the way they wrote that, and plus the complete 21 form they gave him was so shitty. Like, it was just such a bad design. And then when they did give him the form, his form did like 2 things. And that was it. Like, he transformed into it, he showed that he could use DN's gun. He didn't use it though, or he all he did with it was like shoot and I think maybe use a final attack with it. But he didn't like summon any other riders because he has the ability to do so if he has the gun. And then his final attack in that form was just a rider kick that wasn't even amazing looking. It was kind of like a mix between like DN's but as a kick. And I'm like, dude, Violent Decade's final attack looked way better than this. What the hell? Like, even in the gacha game, Violent Decade's special is so fucking ridiculously cool. But I don't know. It's like they were trying too hard to make Geo look like he was supposed to be the strongest rider possible, and they didn't realize that they made Decade the exact same way. And you could tell that Geo was like a weird way of trying to do old ideas that they wanted to do with Decade, but they didn't like go through. 'Cause like, when Kamen Rider Decade's series came out, when he was having the movie come out, there was a teaser where it was supposed to be Decade versus an alternate version of himself, and the alternate version was supposed to be the real Decade. So you find out that the Decade that we've been following the entire time for the show, that was supposed to be the alternate reality one. But then they ended up scrapping that idea and just turning it into a dream for some fucking reason. Like, I don't even know why they bothered making it a dream. They could have just not used those scenes, because it didn't amount to anything. And then with Geo, they basically did the exact story they were going to do with Decade, because in one of Geo's movies, Geo finds out he's not the real one, and that the real one was like another version that becomes Kamen Rider Barks, or Bulks, whatever, how the hell you pronounce that name. Yeah, like, whatever special they're gonna do that comes up that either has to do with Geo or Decade or whoever, they're gonna have to retcon a lot. Or, like, it doesn't even technically have to be a retcon. It can still be part of the story of, okay, Decade loses for God knows why, but they can make it so that Decade comes back, or like whatever they do, they can make it work. But they gotta pay attention to how they're powering their characters, because, like, obviously, if you're doing like a movie of, let's just say, Geo, for example, obviously they're gonna give Geo like a very cool power up, like Geo's Oma form, like not Oma Geo, but Oma form, which I don't know why they named it that way, but they gave him that, but they said that was part of a different continuity, so it wasn't like canon for whatever fucking reason. so he technically doesn't have that form. But like they can power up the writer that the special is for, or that the movie is for, and all that. But when it comes to like a special where they're promoting two writers who literally have the same abilities, it makes little sense to try to nerf one in favor of the other, but then the other gets screwed over too. Because like in Gio's story, Gio only loses because he decides to lose. And not only does he decide to lose, he decides to lose to a weaker form that the normal Gio has. And that form could only be accessed by Decade's power to begin with. So it was kind of like... And I think it was because they were trying to promote Saber. But even then, it didn't really make sense. Because it was just kind of like, even if this was to promote Saber, the form doesn't make sense and it was still too weak. And Oma just kind of decides to lose. Because of reasons. So it was just so badly written. I don't know who thought that was a good idea. Like, even the actor for Decade said that Decade's 21 form was stupid. And everyone agreed. At this point, that special is just considered a joke. Like, I don't even consider it canon at this point because of how badly it was done. Hell, I'll take having a character named Kamen Rider Blades with an S, because we have Blade, but for some fucking reason they made another writer and named him Blades, because, you know, smart thinking here. But I would rather have a writer with a dumbass name than deal with the nonsense that they did for that special. I don't plan on showing Oliver. But yeah, like, whatever they need to do to fix that, they need to do it at some point. Because it made no goddamn sense for them to fuck up two characters like that. And the sad part is, Decade was fine. Decade was perfectly fine until that special happened. Like, even showing up in Gio's show, Decade was still, like, maintained. Like, they didn't fuck him over until that special. Well, see, the problem with that is that some of the specials they have made in the past work for the canon. Because, like, Kamen Rider Ryuki has multiple timelines. And, because, like, in the original Kamen Rider Ryuki show, Ryuki straight up dies. Like, that was, like, a possible future that he had. And then they had, like, a special where it shows where there was two endings. It was like, okay, Ryuki destroys the source of the mirror world. But then what he inadvertently does is he allows all the writers to fight outside of the mirror world, so he's basically haunted by all of them. And then you have another version of it where I think it was, if I remember right, I think it was like he doesn't destroy the mirror world, but like he just constantly fights forever or something like that. And then in the movie of Ryuki, which is another timeline, I think that's the one that they decided to go with as canon, as canon for the rest of the series. In that timeline, Mirror World gets destroyed, and he ends up fighting, like, he fights his double as well, which is Ryuga. And then, all the creatures from the Mirror World pour into the real world. And then it goes from there. But in Gio, they said that, if I remember correctly, like, they had the final battle, and then everybody was freed from the mirror world and kind of, like, reborn. So, like, even all the villains and stuff came back, but they don't have any memories of that world. And, like, before they started making stuff like that canon, they had, like... Well, no, it wasn't even before, because Ryuki came before Faiz. When Faiz had his movie, or side special, whatever you want to call it, the movie was non-canon. It was just like an alternate timeline. And that's all that was. Like, they didn't, like, go any further in that. which is interesting because now that I think about it, since that world doesn't exist in canon, The End was able to summon Kamen Rider Saiga, who is from that timeline. Which makes sense, because The End and Decade can go anywhere. There's just a lot. Yeah, because, like, the specials aren't bad, it just depends on who the hell's writing it. Because, like, they've made, like, other specials and movies and stuff like that, like Kamen Rider Ghost versus Pac-Man, which was hella funny. Because it made total sense. It's like, oh, what's Pac-Man weak against? He's weak against ghosts. Makes perfect goddamn sense if you play the video game. So I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But then they'll do stupid shit where it's like, you know, the Decade and Geo special, where it's like, hey, let's take two characters who are extremely powerful, like god tier level powerful, and we're just gonna say they suck for like no reason. It made zero sense. Like, this is like Sonic the Hedgehog levels of like, what the fuck going on? Where it's like, here's all the answers to your question, or like to your problem, but you're just gonna decide to make another problem. But luckily, Sonic is also in the middle of fixing their shit. So, hopefully that gets ironed out over time. So I honestly think like they'll do the same with Kamen Rider, Decade, and maybe Geo, I guess. Because in the same special with Decade and Geo, they also show that there are alternate versions of Geo. I think there was like 7 of them, and all but 2 get wiped out, and the second one is just roaming around. So I'm like, okay, is this guy gonna matter in the future? We just have another Geo just walking around for like no reason. So it just makes me wonder what the plan here is. Because it would have made more sense for the second Geo to get wiped out as well. Because why wouldn't you in that scenario? But they kept him alive, so now I'm just wondering, where is that gonna go? And yes, I know I've been ranting about Kamen Rider for like the last half an hour. But yeah, it's just like this doesn't happen often in Kamen Rider, but it's just like when there's a problem, it's like very, very noticeable in Kamen Rider because it doesn't happen that often. And so because it's so noticeable, that it just makes you scratch your head going like, what the fuck were they thinking? Like in Saber and Ghost's case, where it's like, hey, here's the goal of the series, we're gonna solve that halfway through, and then we're gonna do it again. And then, when we're doing it again, we're gonna not make that the point, and do something else that has nothing to do with the initial goal. Because, like, Saber and Ghost pretty much have the same exact writing. Or they at least play out very similar. And it makes sense because they're both written by the same guy. Which is why they later on had a special where it was Ghost and Saber fighting together. And I was like, of course it would be Ghost and Saber because it's written by the same guy. Which I think that special, like, I don't even know if anything relevant happened in there. I think the only thing that happened was that one of the female characters became a writer, I guess. And even then, it was just kind of like, okay. It didn't, like, really add to anything. Other than, hey, we got another female writer, which is good, because we need more female writers. I think eventually they'll make a main writer that's female. Because, like, I think boys and men, well, boys in general don't care. They just want to see something cool. Like, there are plenty of female characters that men like. So, I think it'll happen in Kamen Rider at some point, just a matter of when. But yeah. I really like Decade, though, so that's why I'm pissed off that they fucked him over so hard. I guess Decade is technically my first rider. My first is unfortunately Masked Rider. Luckily enough, though, I was young enough to not to be like just, you know, wowed by all the nonsense going on in that show. And then later on, once I got in the Kamen Rider due to Decade, I was like, oh, I am missing a lot of good shit. And so I binge watched everything. Yeah, like a main female writer would be great. And I'm not just talking like, oh, you know, she's like one, like the second or third writer. I mean, like she's like the primary writer. And I think they could pull it. I mean, I know they could pull it off. Like that's not even a question. It's just how will they handle it. And I'm just gonna give her. I'm gonna give her some tight sweats and just have it kind of coming off low on her. Cause like all it boils down to is just writing and how cool is the writer's like gimmick or whatever the case may be. So like you could have like a female writer and I don't know, her gimmick could be like she changes classes or something. So like you have her as like her normal form would be like, I don't know, let's just say cat burglar for her primary form. And then, like, one of her other forms would be Magical Girl or a Knight or something. Like, you know, give her, like, class changes. Like, that. There's an idea. Or you could just have a cat rider who primarily transforms into different types of cats. So like lioness or panther or tiger, whatever. Like it's really not hard. Just to find a neat gimmick or something. Like the writing is definitely the biggest seller. So just make the character not suck and you're good. Because, like, even with Ghost and Saber, they're not entirely bad characters. It's just the story around them sucks. I would say it hurt Ghost more than Saber, because I want to say to a small degree they learned from Saber's situation, or they learned from Ghost's situation to make Saber a little bit better. But then the problem is that they ended up just doing the same shit again. With Ghost, because they didn't have like a proper characterization of Ghost, when they first introduced him in Kamen Rider Drive, his movie, Ghost was a creepy rider. Like they made him like act all spooky and ghostly and shit, like the way you would think of like Japanese spirits and stuff, and it made him cool. But then you get him in the show, and he doesn't do any of the shit that he did in that movie. Like, he doesn't act that way, he doesn't fight that way. And it's funny because when Decade turns into Ghost, he acts that way. He does all the spooky shit that Ghost was doing in that version. So it's just like, man, would really be cool if we got cool Ghost. But we didn't, or if we got spooky Ghost, but we didn't, unfortunately. Oh yeah, like let me find it. Like I'll find it just so, because I don't know if you've watched Ghost at all, but I'll definitely show you the Ghost that I'm thinking of. Yeah, this is the one. Pause. Share. Yeah, this is the Ghost that we didn't get for the main show. So yeah, if you watch that, you'll see what I mean. Because if you've ever like watching Ghost just hurts more knowing that version exists. Alright, let's do this. Welcome back. That's good. I hope you're well rested. Yeah, like, that version of Ghost is really cool. And I would say the first half of the show for Ghost was great, until they started repeating themselves and then kind of throwing themselves into a situation where it's like, oh, this is the main bad guy, and I'm like, okay. What about the other stuff going on? Because like in the beginning of the actual show, the whole point in the beginning was Ghost has to collect all the icons, which are basically the source of his powers, or for him to change forms and all that. He has to collect all 15 of them before 99 days are up, or else he permanently dies. Like he goes to the afterlife because he starts off as a ghost. And they kind of solved that really early in the show, and they end up just doing it again. And then later on, they come up with like other villains or whatever to try to give him something to do. And then for Kamen Rider Saber, it was almost the same thing, where it's like we have to collect all these books. And I think there was like 15 of those too. And then they did it again. And then later on it focused on different villains. But the problem for Saber was that they focused on one guy to be the main villain. And like they even showed like the guy having like glowing red eyes. He was drooling slime and stuff like that to indicate, okay, this is the main bad guy. But then he goes out and they replace him with another bad guy. And they don't explain why the first bad guy had glowing red eyes or drooling slime. They don't explain any of that. And then they just move on to another character. I was like, okay, why was the guy's eyes glowing red? Why was he drooling all this slime and acting like he was possessed or some shit? No, we're not going to explain any of that. We're just going to move on to another character. And then the problem with the second character was that he's been in the show since the start. And when you first see him, or no, like not even first, like throughout the majority of the season, all up until like maybe the last 5 episodes, I think, or no, it's probably a little bit more than that. But up until the first boss or the first villain, checks out, this character, he's been acting like, nonchalant, kind of like a little crafty and stuff like that, maybe elegant and stuff like that. Then once the first main villain checks out, he takes over, and then suddenly he's acting all evil too. He's like, oh, he's acting like he doesn't sleep and stuff. His eyes have like black circles around them now. And I'm like, am I missing something? Did something happen in between these scenes that I'm just like, that we just didn't get? Because he suddenly has like a complete personality shift. And then he's like suddenly obsessed with like, oh, we're all gonna die, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, where did this come from? You did not act like this at all throughout the entirety of the show. And then you just suddenly start acting like this. There's no build up to that character change. He just does it. And like they explain some of it later on. Like he's like, oh, this is why he wants the world to end. But I'm like, but he didn't act like this at all up until a certain point. And the way they explain it happened like thousands of years ago. I'm like, okay, cool, but why is he doing this now? So yeah, it was just I love Kamen Rider, but god damn, sometimes they hurt me with certain writing. Luckily, this doesn't happen often. But damn, I was just like, man, what a way to fuck up your characters. Like, I'm not an amazing writer, but shit. If I was gonna do something, I would at least try to keep it consistent here. Because that would be like me showing that Skylar's acting all evil and shit, but then nothing happens. Like, that would be of just showing like, oh no, Skylar was just having glowing red eyes and acting all sinister for zero reason. Like, there was nothing to support why he would be acting that way. That's cool. Yeah, I heard Metroid Prime looks really good. And they had like or I don't know if they had any quality of life changes. Hopefully they did. I don't know honestly what you would need to fix in that game. I think the aiming's better, as far as I know. Doing whatever with these lines, because I'm just like, shit. Why? Where's your opening? You. Oh, the doors aren't as detailed. Well, hopefully they can like fix that in a patch or something. Yeah, like I know some of the like it's not like Samus isn't as shiny, but I think that's just because they changed how her armor is matted now, because it has like a different finish on it, so that way it's not so reflective. But yeah, like if there's some details that didn't come out right, hopefully they can like just tweak them. I don't think it would be an extreme task. Probably just, put some bump map or fix up the bump mapping and stuff like that. Okay, so we got all this. I can probably cover her in chocolate with like a separate layer. That way I can have two different versions. So here she is, big, thick. Something simple, nothing crazy. And then, oh yeah, let me fix up her pants. Just to make it look. There we go. Thank you. Some big stretch. They changed her face. I'll have to look to see the comparison, but honestly, when it comes to Samus's human state, I'm like, because I'm kind of just like whatever with Zero Suit Samus. Like the way they have her in Smash is pretty much, you know, the ideal form, I guess. But most of the time, you just want her in the fucking cool Power Ranger suit blasting people like Mega Man. Like, if anything, the only real criticism I have over Metroid would just be her losing her powers over and over, and you keep getting, like, the same power back. Like, if anything, if she's going to be losing her powers at the beginning of each game, they should just make her get new powers based on the new location. Like, it's kind of weird that she keeps getting pretty much the same suit over and over. I'll say Dread is a little bit different because even though they name them the same, they don't exactly function the same entirely. And plus, she gets like different abilities and stuff. But like, for the most part, though, it's just kind of like, all right, if you're gonna do that, at least give her a better reason, or at least, you know, make it based on location. I'll say Dread, though, did a good job of explaining why she lost her powers. It's like, all right, she got her shit wrecked by this guy. But other games, it was just more like, oh, I got smacked into a wall and now I lost my powers. I was just like, wait, what? Yeah, I did like the suit for Dread. Yeah, I'll have to look at the remastered version of Prime to see how they made her face, which is probably good because, like, obviously you'd want it to be up to date anyway on how she looks. Like, let me see if I can find it real quick. Samus face remastered comparison. No, that's not it. By the looks of it, it looks like they fixed it up. Like, it's not entirely different, but they, like, touched it up just a bit. Assuming this is even... Oh no, I think this is just a makeshift thing. Yeah, I'll have to look for it just to see what they did to it. Unless this is it. Yeah, I think it looks okay, assuming this is the right one. I don't think it's like super special, awesome, amazing, but I'm just kind of like whatever. Because, like, if the game isn't focused on her having her Zero suit, then they don't really pay too much attention to how she looks human, or out of the suit. But they should probably make, like, a game where you have to swap from suit and not suit or something. Kind of similar to Mega Man ZX, where you have the human form and the Mega Man forms. Which I thought was cool. I liked how it was kind of like Mega Man, but as like a Kamen Rider. That was a fun game. ZX was such a good game. I wish they would make another one, because I have the first two, ZX and ZX Advent. Okay, so I think we're good on this. Let me grab a version of her with the colors, or with the shading off and all that. Nadine. Yeah, like they kind of did that over time because of what happens in Fusion. But obviously the jump from Fusion to Dread, like they just pretty much changed how the suit is. Like it would have been cool if you had the Fusion suit and then it just gradually get put on like the Dread version over time. So you could see, like, because like the Fusion suit was kind of like semi-organic. So it'd be, or I think it was either semi-organic or all organic. But it would have been cool to see like it getting like technical upgrades through like machinery and shit like that. And maybe you could, if it was like organic, then maybe it'd be like somewhat painful on Samus, and she just has to like tough it out and endure it as she's getting upgrades. And then by the end of it, you look like almost close to your normal suit, but obviously it's like a mix between the upgrades and the Fusion suit, like in Dread. So it would have been interesting if they went that route, but they probably just didn't want to go too dark with it all. But I do like how they pretty much kept everything simple with Dread. They didn't like overdo like having her speak and stuff like that, and when she did speak, it was in another language to begin with, which would make sense because why would she be speaking English? But then again, you know, she does know the other language, so whatever works. But I like how Dread worked out. And should I fix that up? Fuck it. Crossover Metroid game with Kirby. That would be interesting. I don't think it would ever happen, but it's possible. Because, you know, space characters. They would just have to make like a crossover game with like Samus, Kirby, and Star Fox. But like make it coherent. With Star Fox, all they gotta do is just, well, one, port Zero to the Switch, and, you know, just make it so that the game isn't so heavily reliant on the dual screen. Which I don't know why they thought that was a good idea. Two, I mean, everything else in the game is basically just a remake of 64. But after that, I mean, do what they did for like Starlink and just make it and let you go wherever you want, and you know, fix up the Federation and stuff like that. Like, they're like, it sounded, because like I know there was that thing that came out where there was a game supposed to be called Star Fox Armada, and the people who were gonna make it, like they talked about how they had all these ideas of what they were gonna do for it, and Nintendo just kind of passed on it. But then eventually Nintendo made Zero, and then Zero was like the worst selling Star Fox game, because a lot of Zero was just retreading what 64 had already done, and 64 is the best selling Star Fox game. The Blue Fox and Star. Oh yes. Yeah, it's like you have Crystal in like 3 games, and that was it. And like the third game, I believe, they gave like possibilities of like, okay, what if Crystal and Fox didn't work out, and so she becomes Curse, or she gets with Star Wolf, and so that was a thing. And like Star Fox Command like wasn't awful, it just wasn't that good of a game. It was just like, okay, and then you just kind of moved on. And then I would say 64 is the best, because it was just an on-rail shooter, and that's all you really want, is just an on-rail shooter. I would say Assault is a good second to me. Didn't really care much for the whole running around parts, especially when a lot of it was like really bogged down to just got a platform, get some switches, and then, oh no, my friends are in danger, I gotta run all the way back out of the hangar, go and save their ass, then go back into the base or whatever, and then complete the mission or whatever. Like, that part was annoying, but other than that, I enjoyed the game. Zero was just like, okay, cool, they put in the idea from Star Fox 2 where your ship turns into a bird, neat. But then they just kept having all these other mechanical nonsense that didn't make sense. It's like, okay, why do I gotta use my second screen for this? Like, oh, well, it's on the Wii U. And like, yeah, but you're kind of just hindering me from enjoying the game in this fashion. But I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. But I honestly, the only thing holding back Nintendo at this point is themselves, because they have more than enough IPs to do pretty much anything they want. They have enough fandoms to support those IPs now. Maybe those games didn't do well back in the day because of whatever limitations were around, or how little the fan bases were back in the day, but nowadays everybody's fully aware of these properties and stuff like that. So they just gotta take advantage of it, and then also not bog down their IPs with mechanical ideas that don't make sense to do. Because like, even with Mario, with every Mario game, they usually add in like a new ability or gimmick, but they don't take away from what made Mario Mario. And the same thing happens with Zelda. Like, they don't take away from what made Zelda Zelda. They might put in different gimmicks and mechanics and shit, but they don't take away like the main the main mechanics that you had in all of them. Like, the only exception would be the crossbow thing, but that was like more of a bonus game rather than like an actual full-fledged game. Same thing for the Tingle game. But everything else is like, okay, yeah, this is Zelda. And I would say this problem is also spreading to Pokemon, where not only are they being rushed to crank out games very quickly, in only like a couple of years, or a few years. I would say like 3 or 4 years at most. Like, they're already trying to crank those out, but then they're also like removing mechanics that were good for the game and replacing them with either bad mechanics or worse mechanics, or just no replacement at all. They'll just take out a mechanic and you just got to deal with it. Which doesn't make sense, because when the mechanic was there, the game was great. But then they took it out, and the game suffers for it. And then, based on how Scarlet and Violet was performing in the beginning, I don't know if they've fixed it since. But based on how that was going down, it's like, yeah, this is just a clear case of you guys rushed the game out, and the game had a whole bunch of technical problems. I still think Sun and Moon is probably the best version, because it has every Pokemon, has every mechanic, has every form at the time. So I would argue that Sun and Moon is the definitive Pokemon game in terms of having all the mechanics that you had, or at least a good chunk of them, if not all of them. In terms of like the game story and stuff like that, I would say Black and White's the best. And in terms of like content, I would say Gold and Silver. Diamond and Pearl was fun though, I enjoyed that one. Not the remix though, the remix was just like, why? It's like, why did you guys even bother? Yeah, like, there was nothing wrong with the initial ideas of Scarlet and Violet. It's just all the buggy bullshit that was going on. And then like right now, my biggest problem with like Scarlet and Violet and Sword and Shield is the lack of, oh, we're not going to have all the Pokemon available, which is dumb, because every Pokemon is somebody's favorite. So it's a matter of them just deciding when they want to toss a Pokemon back into the game, especially since people already found out that there was barely any difference, if at all, of the older models that were in previous games. Because one of their excuses was like, oh, well, you know, it's harder to put the models in the game and stuff like that, or make, well, because like I think their excuse was like they were saying they were making the models from scratch, and then people found out that they were not made from scratch. They were the same models. And like, aside from like, obviously if you're gonna add in like a new element into a game, you gotta bug test and stuff like that. Like that I understand. Like that's just normal game design. But when they already, for the most part, future-proofed their problems, and they're just being, I don't even know if it's lazy or they're just trying to like milk it or whatever, but like they just decide like certain Pokemon just aren't going to show up, and it makes no sense, because now it's like, okay, you made Sword and Shield, here's Scarlet and Violet. Does that mean all the Pokemon from Sword and Shield are available for Scarlet and Violet, or is there some arbitrary reason why they're not all going to be available? And then they keep doing stuff like making alternate forms for Pokemon that aren't going to matter later on. So it's like, here's the Hisuian versions, or the I don't know, whatever the region's called for Sword and Shield, But it's like, here's these versions of these Pokemon, but they're not going to be available in the next game. So, yeah. So it's like, why are you bothering? Because, like, even with the past and future Pokemon, it's like, okay, cool, here's all these past and future Pokemon. Can we use them in the next game? Maybe? Question mark? Like, it's perfectly fine if different Pokemon come from different regions and shit, but it's just like, okay, but you should still make them available if you had already gotten the previous versions and you already went through the struggle of transferring them the way you did. Because like, obviously Pokemon Red, Blue, and the original Gold and Silver games, obviously you can't transfer them from the Game Boy games because, you know, that was a whole other technical thing. But once they got to Pokemon Advanced, or the Game Boy Advance, there was zero reason for you not to be able to have the Pokemon at that point, because they made every way of transferring them possible through those games. And so all the way up to Sword and Shield, there was zero reason why you could not have the other Pokemon. You already spent the time to capture them. You have them all in the previous games. You sent them all to Pokemon Home and Pokemon Bank and whatever nonsense that they made you go through in order to transfer your Pokemon. And then they just said, you know what? We're not going to have these Pokemon available. That's it. There was zero reason for it. Yeah, like, a lot of them were probably from the GameCube era, but they also, like, updated them for X and Y, and that was when they future-proofed all the Pokemon, because it was like, okay, here's them all from X and Y. They're made in Maya or whatever program that they were using. They made it so that all they had to do was just kind of drag and drop and, like, upscale or whatever they had to do, like, you know, fix up whatever textures that they needed fixing up, even though there wasn't much, because it's not like the Pokemon had, like, detailed textures to begin with. And that was it. That was all they had to do. And, like, when Sword and Shield came out, people looked at footage of Gyarados, and Gyarados had the same amount of polygons as they did in X and Y. So, all that bullshit about, oh, you know, it's going to take a while to bring the models from scratch or whatever, was already fucking them for saying that. But unfortunately, at the end of the day, Pokemon still sells regardless of whatever bullshit they tell you. So, pretty much boils down to whether or not something they do makes them gain or lose money. And, like, they've even said that they take out mechanics to put them back in the game later. That way they can subvert expectations or whatever bullshit that companies were saying at the time. So they've already purposely said they take out shit on purpose. Like, nowadays, if I buy Pokemon, it's strictly just to play the version for the version and not care about whether or not I can transfer them for the most part. If, like, because I have Pokemon from the older versions trapped in home at the moment, so any chance I get to transfer all of them out of that into a version or versions that are new, then I'll just keep it at that. It's like, well, all of my Pokemon will forever never be able to be in the same game again unless they eventually come out with a game that does so. So I just kind of have to accept that. But yeah, whenever the opportunity to get them all out of home happens, that's when I'm just gonna do that. So I've been keeping an eye on which Pokemon can go where, if possible. But it's just dumb. It's like they have the ability to have every Pokemon available, and they're just being stupid for practically no reason. Like, even if I had to pay to have all the Pokemon available, that's perfectly fine. It would suck because, you know, they've always been just available from the get-go. But if I just had to pay to gain the ability to transfer my Pokemon into the games, fine, so be it. Just give me the option to do so. Don't just give me a arbitrary reason for them not to be in the game. Not saying paying for it is a good idea, but it's way better than not having them at all. It is like the better of the two evils. But yeah, like I think in Sword and Shield there was about 200 Pokemon still not available. Not sure if any of them became available in Scarlet and Violet. I would say probably only like a handful of them and none of the starters. Or at least none of some of them. Oh yeah, if they did some bullshit like that, it's like, oh, $10 for here's some water Pokemon, and it's like just random, like it's not even like from a specific game region or whatever nonsense, then that's just bullshit. Yeah, I would agree on that. I would say that is the worst decision that they could do, which is already saying something when they already made the decisions that they made. Like, if they just said, pay for all the Pokemon from, you know, Kanto, or like, you know, Red and Blue, or Gold and Silver, whatever, fine, sure, whatever. It would suck. Especially if they're going by each game, so let's just say, hypothetically, they're charging like $20. That would kind of suck, because, you know, how many, like, there's like 8 or 9 games now, so that's at least $180 to $200 depending on how they go about it. So there's that. And then what else would be stupid about it? If some of those Pokemon already show up in whatever version you're playing, that's another slap in the face, because it's like, okay, I already own a chunk of the Pokemon that come from this game that I was able to transfer, but I still gotta pay in order to get the others. Which I guess that's kind of the pill to swallow, if that was the case. But overall, it shouldn't have been an issue to begin with, but they're making it an issue. Like, at this point, they should have just made an MMO where it has all the Pokemon in it, but they're all just in different regions, and you have to, you know, travel around all the regions to go get them. And then actually, I should fix this. And then they should have just made it so, like, when you start the game, you start off in a random region. Like, you don't get to decide which region you're in. Well, no, I would say you should be allowed to decide which region you start in. You pick a region. You start in that region. The region plays out the way it's supposed to play out. And then once you finish that region, you get the option to pick like another region, but it's like based on your location. So like, let's just say you did Johto from Gold and Silver. Once you finish the game, you have the option of going to either Kanto, or not game, but like finish that region. You go to either Kanto or let's just say Hoenn. And there's like, you know, 2 spots to go by. You can either take the subway train to go to Johto, or to go to Kanto, or you take the boat to go to Hoenn. And then you go from there. Like, if you finish Hoenn, then it takes you to this region. If you go to Kanto, it takes you to this region. Like, just make them connect after you complete the areas, and then go from there. And then for like any mythical / legendary Pokemon, make it like either an event or you play through the game and you unlock the ability to go get them. So like, Victory Road has Moltres, the Power Plant has Zapdos, you just need the items or whatever means necessary to go get them. And then if it's like for a crazy rare Pokemon, like, I don't know, let's just say Mewtwo and Mew, for example, then those can either be locked into the areas that they're supposed to be in, like Mewtwo is in the cave, I forget the name of it, but Mewtwo's over there. Mew is obviously a special case because Mew never had its own area to begin with. So like for Mew could be like a special event. So like, I don't know, let's just say it's Pokemon's 5th anniversary of the MMO or some shit. Here's a chance to get Mew, and then you do that to get him. There you go. Like, it doesn't have to be fucking complicated. Just fucking do it right. It's not even hard. Like, if kids have already come up with this with these types of games from their own fucking imagination, then I don't know what the hell companies are trying to figure out at this point, because they're trying to make a profit, but then they keep doing stuff that makes them not make a profit. So it's like, why are you guys playing on hard mode? Yeah, like, just make Pokemon an MMO at this point. Yeah, and you just make, and like, let's just say the Pokemon's levels, like, let's just say after you finish your initial region or whatever, you can have it like two ways. You can either scale the Pokemon based on the more regions you're able to travel to. So like, let's just say the highest level of Pokemon you go from your main region, like let's just say you start off in Kanto, the highest level of Pokemon you'll encounter is like 60 or whatever. But then once you leave your region, the game will assume, okay, if you've beaten your region, that means your Pokemon are at least level 60. So any other Pokemon you encounter from other regions are at least, let's just say, at minimum 50, highest 60. Or highest is, however far it goes from that point. And it just scales up from there on. Or they can make it so that however strong your Pokemon are on average, then the game will scale to that. So that way enemies and opponents and all that will be able to at least give you some form of a fight. Like, even scaling isn't even that challenging if you know what you're doing. And then when it comes to, player versus player, that's like a whole other thing where they can adjust it based on, however they do it nowadays, where it's like, okay, all Pokemon are at level 50, here's the max base stats or whatever bullshit. Like, there are ways around this. Yeah, the whole mythical thing didn't make sense to begin with. I think they just made it up just so they can make certain Pokemon more special than they already were. And I guess they were just trying to differentiate between, like, Zapdos, Moltres, and Articuno being, like, catchable legendary Pokemon that you could get, like, just playing the game. And then Pokemon like Mew and Celebi and all that special because, you have to get them through other means. So I think that's all they really did it for. It really didn't amount to anything. Nothing significant, at least. And I'm just gonna give her big stretchy sweats. Maybe I'll put a texture on them. Yeah, like if you're able to capture, let's just say hypothetically, for somehow if they did make like an MMO version, you transfer your Pokemon from the earlier games, And let's just say you do actually get them, but they're all sent to their respective regions. So that way you can't just like, go through the initial regions with Pokemon you couldn't innately capture. But like once you're able to go to those regions, there should be like somebody at the Pokemon Center saying like, "Oh, your Pokemon from here are well vested up, and they're glad to see you again," or whatever nonsense, like whatever message. So then you just have access to those Pokemon once you finish your initial region, and you just have to travel to each place to go get them. Like you already have them, you just have to travel to go to pick them up. Like they could have did something like that. I mean, obviously, like making a Pokemon MMO would probably be the best idea at this point, because you can make infinite regions or however many you want to make, and then the DLC would just be another region with more Pokemon. That's it. I mean, it's already what they're doing, just not as big of a hassle. The only thing you'd have to worry about is just hackers, which is, already the case anyway. Like, it's basically the same thing that they're doing now, just on a bigger scale, because it'd be permanently online if they were doing an MMO style. And then they'd be able to nerf and adjust Pokemon, I would say, a little bit easier in that sense, because it wouldn't be hindered to whatever version of the game people have. It would all be consistent. But I don't know. Like, obviously I'm just talking into the ether. So, whatever happens, happens. But I'm just waiting for the ability to get all of my Pokemon off of home, and then leave it at that. Unless they come out with a game that has all the Pokemon available, then I'll care again. But if I ever do get another Pokemon game, it'll just be strictly just to play it for it, and not like try to care about trading and shit. Because there'd be no point. It's like, why would I care about trading from each game and all that if they all just end up not being relevant or not being available in the next game? Because they made it like, oh, you gotta collect all the Pokemon. It's like, yes, but now you took that away. You took away the main gimmick. And then from what I remember, they keep saying they only have so many people working on the games. I'm like, this is a multi-billion-dollar franchise. They have the money to fix this problem. They just choose not to. That'd be fun. That'd be a fun team. Yeah, and that's like the other thing. It's like people, again, every Pokemon is somebody's favorite. Everybody has some combination of team that they want to use. Whether the Pokemon stats are amazing or not, it's like, it doesn't matter. These are the Pokemon that people want to use. Like, if somebody wanted a full team of fucking Goldeen, and then they toss in, like, I don't know, Necrozma, then that's their decision. But if for whatever dumb reason Goldeen's not available or Necrozma's not available, it's just arbitrary at that point. It's like they're not in the game just because it was decided so. But like I said, hopefully in the future they'll wise up and just make a better game, or a game that's not rushed and not pressured. Which is weird, because they kind of did that for the anime. but then they didn't do it to the actual games. Subtitle, yeah. At least let us dress up our Pokemon and stuff. I would say the dressing up stuff is probably going to be the hard part, unless there's like specific spots that that Pokemon have where the items can, you know, sit on them coherently. Because obviously certain Pokemon have all these different body types that they just won't be able to have all the clothing on and stuff like that. But if it's something like as simple as let's just put a bow on them, then that'll be something simple. Like even like Pokemon as shinies is more of a luxury thing because it's like it doesn't do anything. There's no like benefits to having Pokemon as a shiny, so you might as well just have Pokemon in various different colors at that point. And just make the colors available, like just make those like buyable or something. Like they don't impact gameplay, so you might as well just go crazy with it. But I don't know. Like I said, this is going to be something where Pokemon has to be pushed into a corner to make better decisions. And it won't happen if all their games keep selling. Oh yeah, with the terrestrializing abilities. Yeah, those are technically hats. But like those were made for a specific reason. So yeah, but yeah, like those are a good example where there's like a spot on the Pokemon where all these items or all these abilities can sit on. So if they did something similar for like clothing and stuff, then it's doable. It's just a matter of if they want to at that point. That is not what I wanted to do. Give us a new Eevee. I mean, I'm still surprised they haven't gone through all the types for Eevee. But no, we're gonna have a... Did they give them give Eevee a Dynamax form? Can't remember. Or Gigantamax, whatever the fuck it's called. Like, we're gonna waste our time on this mechanic, but we're not gonna go through all the EVs yet for some fucking reason. Yeah, it's just like, here's an extra floofy form, you know, something nobody was asking for. Or here's Eevee and Pikachu with like different hair and different hats and shit. I'm just like, can we progress here? I just find it funny that Eevee ended up becoming more popular over time. I was like, yeah, everybody loves Eevee, but I didn't think he'd get that far. But I guess Eevee is like the second Pikachu for the series. Which is funny because Clefairy was supposed to be one of the mascot characters. Yeah, it's like, okay, so here's this thing we didn't ask for. It's another version of Eevee. It can't evolve, or you can't evolve it, or else you lose the Dynamax thing, or it just can't evolve. Period. And it was just like, okay, sure, whatever. And Dynamax in general is just a stupid idea. It was like they were trying to make Z moves and Mega Evolutions one mechanic, but then all they did was just show that they didn't know how to program their game still, because it was found out that all of the Dynamax and Gigantamaxes were just separate models again, which people found out was the same case in Sun and Moon. So it's just showing that the people behind Pokemon have problems optimizing their game. I don't know if the same case happened with Scarlet or Violet, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did. But now with Scarlet and Violet, the problems are all the other bugs that was going on. So but like that could also be like a case of them being rushed to work on the game, which should not be the case for their flagship games. Like, yeah, you use your most profitable series, don't fuck it up. Because hell, Magic the Gathering's having that issue with Hasbro, where it's like, let's just burn all of the goodwill we have with our players. You know, the people who buy our game. Let's just fuck them over. That'd be like if Pokemon just said, you know what? We're only going to give you 3 Pokemon and you gotta pay for all the others. Luckily that will never happen, but can you imagine if it did? It's like, oh, you only get 3, you know, and it's randomly generated. No, like, wait, what? And then you gotta pay for everyone else. Finish doing this and I think I'll call it for today. God, it is freezing in my room. I've been cold all morning. It's cold here. I should just draw Becky with a massive sweater and a scarf. But yeah, I would say today went well with the stream. There weren't any hiccups. And I think it confirms my suspicion that I think my computer is just having heating issues. So I just gotta do what I can to keep it from overheating. But yeah, thank you for coming. I'll finish this up more later today. I will finish up the iHat page so I can post it on Patreon. And then I'll get to work on all the other stuff that I said I'd be working on. I'm going to be busy because of the drawbacks I've had with the computer. But I'm probably going to take not take the rest of the week off, but like I'm probably not going to stream the rest of the week just so I can try to catch up on everything. But I will finish this pic and post it publicly when it's done. But yeah, I think for the rest of the week, I'm just going to keep working on stuff to put them out. And if I have time on Saturday and Sunday, then I will stream. If not, then I will definitely resume streaming back on next Tuesday. Computer, what do you expect when you load me with porn? No, that's the thing. I don't load my computer with risque stuff. That's all on my external drives. So my computer literally doesn't have that stuff. So, so its lazy ass is like, nah, man, it's hot. It's like, fuck you. But yeah, I will see you guys. I want to say next week, next Tuesday. If I end up streaming like tomorrow or Saturday or whatever, it'll be completely random. But you know, I'll still announce when I am. So you guys have a good day, and I will see you guys next time. All right, bye bye.